Hi, this is Tom Pizzato
And Dan Silvestri
from SpyMovieNavigator.com. Join us as we're cracking the code of spy movies. In today's episode, we're going on location to Real Art Collectibles in Berwyn, Illinois, to talk with Cory Glaberson. Since 1993, Real Art Collectibles has provided pop culture collectors from around the world with memorabilia from various eras, genres, and prices.
If you like our podcast, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and Google Play. That helps us a lot, and it helps us go up in the rankings, which gets us more listeners, and we appreciate that. Tom's back. Welcome back, Tom. Tom's been traveling, not on an official undercover mission, but he's been traveling to some interesting places in the world down near the equator.
Yeah, Dan, I actually just got back from Ecuador, which is just amazing, and I'd love to see them do some filming down there. Now, we did some of it in the Galapagos Islands. I know they're not going to be able to film that, right? They're not going to let that happen. They're just all the different diversity of animals and stuff like that. But we spent part of the time in the Amazon basin where we went down this riverboat into the thing. And the first night,
you're on the Amazon.
We're on the, well, it's actually a tributary. It was the Napo River, which feeds into it.
Okay.
But it's the longest river in Ecuador. And the first night we do this night walk, and the first animal I saw was a tarantula about 1.5 times as big as my hand.
Oh, that would be scary.
And it got me thinking in Dr. No.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
In the book.
Professor Den.
Yeah. In the book, Fleming has a centipede crawling up Bond.
Yeah.
In the movie, they changed it to a tarantula.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is the tarantula is not going to do anything to you, where a centipede is deadly.
Won't kill you.
No, it won't kill you. Where a centipede is deadly. So it's pretty funny. We're sitting, and you look at this thing, it's huge, and it's like, oh my, what am I looking at here? But I'm thinking, boy, that'd be a really cool place to see because it's so remote.
Yeah.
And so beautiful. And some of the river stuff they could do from an action perspective.
So that would be cool to work that into a Bond movie or a Mission Impossible movie or whatever.
Exactly. Any of these spy movies, if there was, even if it's just, hey, there's somebody who's got a remote hideaway in the Amazon.
I'd like it.
And you go see it. It was really, really neat. And anybody who's into like eco tours or anything, it was fabulous.
Well, welcome back. Glad to have you back. I'm doing a podcast again with Tom. I had to do one solo.
I know.
While he was gone.
Thanks for working while I was playing, Dan.
All right.
So Dan, while I was playing in Ecuador, you were here working, right? And you went to Real Art Collectible in Berwyn to meet with Cory Glaberson. And tell me about this place, because it after kind of talking to you a little bit about it, I want to go there now. But talk to our audience about that.
It was kind of cool because we had just put a podcast out about James Bond collectibles, movie collectibles, and that was one I did when you were gone also, and we got some good feedback on that. So I thought, hey, we'll go out to see Cory, because this guy, he's big. He's been doing this since 1993, so he knows what the heck he's doing. He's got a warehouse, and then he just opened the shop about 8 years ago, and the shop is full of stuff. And then we went to the warehouse. We went and looked at the warehouse. He's got 100,000 posters back there in the warehouse. I mean,
wow.
It's unbelievable. But he's got vinyl LPs from the movies, from the Bond movies and all kinds of stuff. He's got little toy figurines like Dr. No and everything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He's got the Aston Martin cars. And I mean, he's got so much stuff. You walk in there, you're just overwhelmed from all kinds of movies.
Yeah, so it's not just spy movies.
Not just
right?
spy movies.
Okay.
He's got all kinds of movies. So if you're into movie collectibles, this is the guy you want to talk to because he knows what the heck he's doing. The guy's got some fabulous stories about stuff. So take a listen to that.
So now you said you went to he has a store front.
Yeah.
In front of this warehouse, but he also, I mean, he's obviously got a website. So it's Real Art Collectibles.
RealArtCollectibles.com, and that's real, REEL.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, like, movie reel.
Yeah.
So RealArtCollectibles.com, and he's got the shop. So if you're in the Illinois area, you can go to the shop and talk to him, but he's really open. You can call him, and he'll try to find stuff for you, too. So this guy's good. This is a great content.
I'm looking forward to the interview.
Yeah. He's a great guy, been doing this a long time. He knows a lot. And now we're going to cut to the interview with Cory Glaberson.
That means it's time for our Smartest Spy in the Room segment.
Right. Here we go. Hi, we're here with Cory Glaberson in Real Art Collectibles in Berwyn, Illinois. Cory's got all kinds of cool movie collectibles from all over the world, and he sells it through the shop, and he's got the warehouse sales occasionally too.
Absolutely.
And online at realartcollectibles.com.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit, Cory, and the kind of movie collectibles you have in the shop here.
We have everything. We have all kinds of movie posters.
How many posters do you think you have in the shop?
Oh, about 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah. I bought out the warehouse from National Screen Service when they went out of business.
Oh, my gosh.
And, so I got a lot of posters.
So if
they're not all great.
People are interested in movie posters.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to find something here.
Absolutely. If we don't have it, one of my friends is.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
Great. We have toys. We have some props. Not a lot right now. We also have a lot of stuff that is sold. Made to be collected.
Cool.
As well as movie posters, press books. We even have 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter film. So we sell everything there is. I love movies. I've always loved movies, and so I've made that a major part of the store. And so in addition to that, we also sell toys, comic books, vintage vinyl. We have regular books. We have a lot of movie books about movies.
Yeah.
We just do everything pop culture except Beanie Babies. For some reason, I don't like Beanie Babies, and I usually don't like glassware because it breaks.
Yeah.
But everything else we sell.
So you've got tons of stuff here.
Right.
Where do you find all these things?
Well, you'd be surprised how much comes in through the door. People bring it to me all the time.
Really?
But I'm also at shows. I love talking to people about their collections. And in doing so, I'm constantly what I call pulling the thread. Finding a new piece, pulling people, calling them up, actively looking for stuff. And I've got a huge collection of people that I correspond with and talk to. One of my friends in New Orleans just found a collection in Los Angeles.
Nice.
So he's going to fly out to Los Angeles, and then I might get in on it. I don't know.
Yeah. So you have this network built up now.
I have a network built up of people that I talk to. This is one way of doing it.
That's good.
Is, anyone who listens to the podcast, if they have something they want to sell, please look me up, find realartcollectibles.com, and we'll be happy to buy it from you.
Yeah, that's real with REEL.
REEL.
You
Real,
get it?
as in reel-to-reel film.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. It's
That's
a play
cool.
on an old... Real Art was a company that re-released the monster movies in the 50s. REAL. And that was the way that most people saw them, was in those re-releases in the 50s.
Yes,
and those became the ones that they brought onto TV. So that's where I got that from.
Cool. So how did you possibly get into this business?
I like most important thing is I want to be my own boss. I don't like working for other people. Still don't like working for other people. So this is a way for me to do something I like, do something I love, movies, comic books, toys, and do it on my own. Do it for me. Yeah. No one can tell me, except my wife, that what I do. I mean, I don't make a lot of money, frankly, but it doesn't matter because I do have a lot of freedom.
Yes. And how long you been doing it?
92, since 1992.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time now.
Yeah.
And I always have a store. The store is about 7-8 years old. Most of the time we did shows and online.
Okay.
At the beginning of eBay, I was there.
Sure.
And then we go to shows around the country, which I still love doing.
Yeah.
So I go to shows all over I used to go all over the world. I've been to Australia, I've been to Japan, I've been to England many times. I don't do that as much anymore.
Yeah.
But I still go to the big comic book and show in San Diego Comic-Con.
Sure.
And I do the big New York show. And I do Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I do shows all over the Midwest. But in the gift shop of the Patton Museum of Leadership and Armor, Louisville, Kentucky, at Fort Knox, is the original model of Fort Knox that was used in Goldfinger.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool. I was like, whoa! Not at the actual Fort Knox.
Right.
And the museum, unfortunately, I think they ruined it. But the gift shop is still worth going to see.
All right. So for our listeners out there and viewers out there who aren't in the Midwest and they're maybe all over the world, you ship to them, right? You ship anywhere?
Absolutely. Ship anywhere in the world.
So they could order from your website online?
Absolutely. Or if or go to our Facebook page, like us on Facebook, because
Okay.
we're always posting stuff on Facebook.
Sure.
Or just contact us, because a lot of people, collectors especially, have very specific tastes, and so it's hard to put up enough stuff to find what they want. So just let us know. Email us.
Sure.
We also have a big eBay presence.
That's excellent.
So yeah.
So obviously you have genres of all kinds of different
Everything,
films. So what's your favorite genre? Obviously we got some spy stuff we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. So what's your favorite genre of all the stuff you have?
I'm a big science fiction fan.
Okay.
I love science fiction.
Day of the Earth Stood Still. You like that one?
Day of the Earth Stood Still is one of my absolute favorites.
It's one of mine.
Yeah, sure. Still, great.
Fabulous movie.
And
the original one.
The original one. But I do like science fiction. I do like Star Wars, all the Star Wars films, all the Star Trek films.
That's all fun.
That's all. I love all that stuff. I like horror. I don't like the modern vintage, kind of like the horror porn that they come out with, like Saw.
Yeah,
but I like
right.
Universal Monsters and things like that as well.
Right.
So I'm big on that. And I also love all kinds of foreign films, Criterion Channel has lots of great movies.
Okay.
But
so you deal with collectors all over the world.
all over the
here.
world, right.
And so do you, Cory, own some of your own collectibles?
I do. I mean, I have a big toy gun collection. I love toy guns.
Okay, all right.
So, and one of my absolutely treasured pieces is a James Bond attaché case.
Oh,
the
really?
original mint one, and there's a British one which I have, and I have a mint American one still in the wrapper.
Oh, nice.
And as well as the Joe 90 briefcase, and there's like 4 or 5 other There's a Secret Sam briefcase.
Yes,
and
right.
I've got all those as well.
All right, you got to get us a peek view, at least a
I'll
photo
send you
of
some photos
of the attaché case.
Sure,
We want
absolutely.
to see that.
That's a really cool piece.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was a fabulous piece.
It was. When I was a kid, I just loved it.
So, can you show us some of the spy stuff? We have some of the spy stuff around here. And tell us about the kinds of things you have that are spy-related.
Spy-related. So, I was thinking about that. And there's toys that came out from James Bond on. Then mostly a lot of little vehicles and things like that. I have a few of those I can show you.
DB5 and stuff?
I don't think I have a DB5 in the store. I've got the Quantum of Solace car.
Oh, nice. That's a nice one.
And a nice car. But for collectors, movie posters are probably the prominent thing for collecting, especially because James Bond is so central to the whole spy thing.
Absolutely.
And so we surrounded ourselves with all different types of spy posters here because they're the quintessential collecting thing for a spy person. Spy people are usually older. They're not really playing with toys. Maybe they played with toys when they were kids.
Sure.
There are some, classic, beautiful cars and things like that, and that makes sense.
Yes.
But most people saw the spy movies when they were a little older, and so they gravitate to the more mature movie posters. There's also books. I mean, the James Buchan books and things like that.
Yes.
But that's a very now specialized field.
Yes.
39 Steps book is.
Yeah, we have a podcast on the 39 Steps. It's one of our all-time favorite movies.
It's an all-time favorite movie, and the Hitchcock version is great.
Yes.
Fabulous. And so that that is a very rare poster. And
you have that poster?
I don't. I don't. I've had pieces. There's posters, and then they have these things called lobby cards. Lobby cards are usually a set of 8, not always, but usually a set of 8 scenes from the movie. And they would put those literally in the lobby of the theater. This was before you had even trailers and TV, certainly before TV.
Yes.
Where, how are you going to see what this movie's about? Well, you go to the theater, and there's 8 little pictures of the film right there. And so it gives you some idea of what's going on, what year it came out, was what they're doing. And so lobby cards are very cool because they tell you about
Yeah, I've seen a few of those from License to Kill.
License to Kill.
Those are some great lobby cards.
They stopped making them.
Right.
Around 2000, they kind of, only a few Bond pictures now have them.
Yeah.
And
so you mentioned the posters. There are different kinds of posters we were talking about a little earlier from different parts of the world, right? Some of these are from...
Yeah, I have a Japanese Daniel Craig. This is... we also have the... See, with Bond posters especially, Bond movies were made in England. So what they call the country of origin is the poster from from the actual movie house, the theater, the studio that made the movie,
Sure.
right? And those are most desirable. So for Bond, it's the British quad. That's 30 inches by 40 inches. That is the most desirable movie poster. And so those go for thousands of dollars, the Connery.
Probably hard to come by.
Well, they're a little harder than the American posters, that's for sure.
Sure. But you see them once in a while.
Oh, I've had them. I've had them all. You know, I
nice.
sell them to people all the time. That's the problem is much as I love movie posters, I can't afford my own hobby. I got to be able to sell these things. But the American posters, are also great. They have different art and than the British ones
Man with
usually.
the Golden Gun.
Man
Nice,
with the
fun
Golden
movie.
Gun, and Roger Moore is still highly collected now more than in the past because the people who grew up with the Roger Moore pictures as their first Bond
Yes.
pictures are the ones that are now collecting. The Connery people, Sean Connery is still acknowledged as the master of all the Bond, and his posters
He is
still
good.
go command for the most money.
Really?
But
Did they sell out first ahead of everybody else?
I had a great collection just recently. It's all gone,
Wow.
and I still have some Roger Moores. It's just that's the way it is.
So every day you're getting new stuff, though. So
I try to. Yeah,
Right,
every day
yeah.
I'm always looking for stuff. Yeah.
So if you can't find it now, Cory may have it
I
next
will
week.
absolutely. And you never know what comes in through the door. It's amazing. Like I said, I was talking to a guy who's got a major collection in California. And so if he had any Bonds, I'm going to try and get a couple.
Absolutely. Terrific. All right, we're with Cory here looking at one of the Roger Moore posters of The Man with the Golden Gun.
Right.
Another fun movie. We're looking at the poster with Roger Moore in the classic pose with the pistol, and we've got the car jumping over the river in the background, and of course,
Golden Gun.
you got the Golden Gun itself, the 007 bullet. Cory, tell us a little bit more about
Well,
this and
this
who
is-
did the poster. And,
The artist is Robert McGuinness. He did a lot of the early Bond posters, and people really, really like his art. I do too. He draws women so beautifully.
Yes.
This is with Christopher Lee was the villain, the main
Yes.
villain in this. Britt Eklund was the main Bond girl, and the gun. I'm a toy gun collector, so the gun really. When I was a kid,
do you have
that
a
was
copy of this one?
I have a copy of this one, and I also have a copy of the Advance, which shows the gun itself. We can show you that
Yeah,
too.
right.
That one, that one I love.
All right, we're going to take a look at that one now, too, with the
This
gun
is
itself.
actually worth more because it is a rarer poster.
All right, now we're looking at the Christmas presentation
That's
from
what-
James Bond. It
this is what they
says,
call it Advance. They
And-
would put up a poster typically way before the movie came out to let you know that it's coming.
get you excited about it.
That's right, and this one is one of the ones I've always loved.
So we're looking at this
I have
one.
a copy of this,
And it's
in my
got
collection.
the golden gun broken apart into
Right.
its pieces, of course, the pen, etc., the cigarette lighter, and then it's got one assembled. And it's
Right.
got both of them one on top of the other.
Right.
It's got the man with the golden gun is ready to assassinate James Bond.
See, now they
Whoa.
never made a toy of this. They did later, but they never made a toy of it during the run of this movie. Like I was saying, posters are Bond stuff is more for mature people. They did make toys for Goldfinger and a few of the other ones, and those are very
Yes.
cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
I
did they
remember
use-
that. Of course, the golden gun in the movie, Scaramanga, the bad guy, Christopher Lee,
The assassin.
for $1 million would go assassinate whoever you wanted him to go assassinate
Right.
for $1 million, and he only needed one bullet. The gun only holds one bullet, and so that's all he needed, he said. And there was a special bullet maker he used to make it the golden bullets, and this is it.
Yeah.
The gun is here, assembled and disassembled.
You could disassemble it, and you can walk around. It's just a pen and a cigarette lighter.
Cigarette lighter,
Right.
cigarette case, and
Right.
a cufflink.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
It is.
And this
very cool.
poster is fabulous. So this poster's available here, right?
Sure,
You got it.
$500.
$500. And again, do you know who did this poster, Cory?
The artist, I'm not sure on this one,
Okay.
but it is really cool.
It is.
I'm sure somebody will tell us.
Yeah.
And the poster behind me is from A View to a Kill. This is not a Robert McGuinness artwork poster. It's a nice poster, A View to a Kill. It's not worth
Yeah.
as much,
Right.
partly because it's a later poster.
Yeah, Roger Moore's last film as Bond.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
more than I do.
I think
that.
he was like 57 or something
was
when he
he?
did
Yeah.
this one. He even thought he was a little too old for this, but I thought it was still a fun movie.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
His early films were the best.
But that's a nice poster. It's a
Yeah.
poster of of course, the San Francisco, when they're on the bridge in San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge.
Right.
And he's up on top of the bridge there. So, and she, of course, the blimp is there as well with the bad guys.
Yeah.
So, very cool poster.
I want to show you, too, I'll show you the difference between an American poster, and this is a British quad. You can see it's horizontal, not vertical.
Yeah, are all the British posters horizontal?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. They did do a few vertical.
Now we're looking here at a Casino Royale
right.
poster. Beautiful. Daniel Craig with his
I
bow
love.
tie undone.
And you see it's horizontal, not vertical. These are country of origin posters. It's important to note that, because that's what are the most expensive. This will be more expensive than the American Casino Royale in the years, as they get older. And now that he's about to finish his reign,
yes.
as I think that they'll all go up in value as well.
Yeah.
Not to the Bond post, not to the Connery poster prices, but they'll still be very valuable. Bond is one of those gold standard, always going to be collectible franchises. It's got Bond, you've got Star Wars.
Yes.
It's not like it's not like $6 Million Man. He's great at the time. People still collect it.
Right.
But eventually, people who won't know that stuff are going to die off.
Yeah, Bond's the longest running franchise in movie history.
And it's wonderful. Yeah.
And now we're waiting for the new one.
Let me show you something else too. These only came out.
We're looking at smaller.
These are smaller
cards.
posters.
Right?
These came out for the premiere, and they came out in different sizes. But it's cool because they came out with character ones.
Yeah, we're looking at a variety of posters. Some, all of them with Daniel Craig. Some of them with some of the stars. Of course, Judi Dench is M.
Right.
In one of them, one with 4 versions of Craig moving.
Right.
Another with Solange, which is one of my favorites.
Nicholson.
Matt Nicholson.
Yeah.
He was fabulous.
So these only came out at the premiere of the show. Now, I don't know if I cannot find any large size of these posters. They're all just small.
So these would have been at the London premieres?
At the London premieres.
I want to go to one of those.
Yeah. I got these from, here's another story. How do I get things? I was at the Bond in Motion.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's a great
Fabulous,
museum.
It
was a great museum. It's gone now. They
there's
closed
a Bond in Motion museum still.
Is it?
With
I
all the
thought
cards
they
and
closed
everything?
it.
No. It's still there.
Oh, well, maybe
I was there a year and a half ago.
Anyway, I went to the Bond Museum, and I'm there looking at how wonderful it is, and they've got this poster up on the wall. And I said, oh, and for sale. And I said, well, do you have more? They go, oh, yeah, we got a whole bunch more. I go, really? Can I buy a bunch more? And they said, sure. So I got a whole bunch of posters then, and then I corresponded with the guy, and he said, well, we got these things. I'll throw them in for free,
Oh, my God.
because he's
Very
got
nice.
even more stuff all the time. And so I've been buying stuff from him for a while, and then all of a sudden, it was all gone. And someone bought it all. Someone else bought it all. But I got a nice piece of it, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
I don't want to have everything.
No.
But that's how you do it. You talk to people. You're constantly talking to people saying, oh, what do you have?
Yes.
What's your collection like? Where can I get that piece?
And that's where you're making connections. And you
that's
keep in
my
touch with all these
networking
people.
and connections, right.
There you go. Now we're looking at another poster behind you there, Cory, a Bollinger Champagne of James Bond. There's a... Explain that poster a little bit. It's kind of cool. It's got a big bottle of... this is from License to Kill.
Right.
It's got a big bottle of Bollinger Champagne.
Well, it was Timothy Dalton. Is that Timothy Dalton? Yeah. It's not. Timothy Dalton was not the greatest Bond. A lot of people.
I like it.
But he was all right. I mean, the thing with that was they were doing cross promotion with different brands, right? That became really big later on, and that's one of the early ones.
Product placement.
Very extremely rare poster. Extremely rare. It's a Bond poster that it's not part of the canon of. If you're a completist, that's the kind of poster you want. If you want every single Bond poster ever made, that's the kind of thing you look for. But if for a lot of people, they don't need that.
Yeah.
So it's expensive.
It is a cool poster.
But it takes a long time to sell.
Yeah.
But it does go for a lot when you do get people interested in it.
Yeah. So this is a unique poster. It wouldn't have been a lobby card. It wouldn't have been a regular poster.
It was just something that they put up in stores and they put up in the theater, or they put it up in the theater to promote Bollinger's.
Yes.
As part of the experience of being a Bond, person.
Very cool. We're going to take a look at some of the spy toys, just a few of them.
There were lots of toys made for Bond films. They started later, but this is some of the earlier ones were little plastic figures, rubber figures for Dr. No.
Cool.
And, also for Goldfinger, they did a lot of great toys, trying to market it to the kids. Then they went but they always had an obsession with cars.
Yes.
And you see the car here. This is a slot car for the Vanquish for Die Another Day. It's a slot car. That's very cool. Piece with little machine guns that pop out of the thing. You can attack your opponents with them. And then they also, from the very beginning, Goldfinger on up, they would do trading cards. Here's trading cards. This is a set for Skyfall. These are trading cards, a whole set of cards, so you can own a little piece of the movie, as it were.
Is the whole set Skyfall here?
This is the whole set for Skyfall for just $20.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. They made millions and millions of these cards, so they're out there.
So what are the most interesting collectibles that you've had in the shop?
Well, I've had some great movie posters. I've been very blessed, and I'm lucky in finding some great movie poster collections. The most expensive poster I think I've ever found is the only known copy of the Invisible Man. The original Invisible Man insert. Insert is a style of movie poster that's long and thin, and no one had ever seen one before. And I put that up, and I got $85,000 for that.
Oh my God!
And the guy who bought it turned it around and sold it for $125,000.
So that had to be the rarest item you've had in your shop.
It's probably the rarest single item that I've had in my shop.
That's a great story.
It was a great, a really great. I'll tell you the whole story if you want me to, but
yeah.
Well,
tell us a little bit.
It's a very strange story. I was at a show in New York with a friend of mine, Morris Everett, who's has a great auction house, and he put together shows as well. So I'm in New York, and he and his wife and my wife are great friends, and so they're up front, luckily, taking the money while we're in the back, and there's like 50 poster dealers in the hall, and this guy comes up and he's got a bag of paper. And my wife looks at it and says, "That's old paper." And he goes up. Can you tell me someone here who's buying movie posters? This gentleman says, I want to sell these posters. And so my lovely, wonderful, gorgeous wife hand carried him through a hall of movie posters right to my table and handed him to me. And I went, "Oh, okay." And so I start looking at this stuff, and I go, holy moly. It was not just the Invisible Man, it was a whole roll of all this old 30s paper.
Wow.
So I said, well, I want to buy it from you. He says, great. And so we're talking about a deal. But the catch is, he needs the money today, and it's Sunday.
Oh.
There's no banks. I've got $300 in my pocket. He knows it's worth more than $300. So I'm like, well, I'll give you the check tomorrow. I'll go to He needs the money today.
Wow.
I'll tell you why later. So I said, okay. So I had to look around. What am I going to do? I mean, I can't let this go. And I can't ask any of my buddies because they will they'll be like vultures. They'll just descend on them. So I go to Morris. And I go, Morris. And I drag Morris into a closet, basically. And I say, I need money to buy this collection. He goes, well, show me it. And I unroll the Invisible Man. And he had a Robin Hood, and I unrolled the Robin Hood. Oh, wow. And he had a Tarzan, and I unrolled the Tarzan.
These are all the classics.
These are all, amazing stuff. And his eyes are like, And he goes, well, what do you need? He says, well, I need to borrow as much money as you possibly give me. He says, okay, I'll do that if you put him in the auction, his auction.
Ah.
And I said, okay, fine. It was worth it. He didn't want any piece of the collection. He just wanted to put it in the auction. So he goes back to his wife and he says, give me every dollar you have. And we scrape together about $2,000. And he takes it. Now, I'm telling him, I'll give you more later. No, I need the money right now. So we give him the money. Well, it turns out this guy has more stuff. His father had been the usher at the Capitol Theater in Arlington, Massachusetts. And was just gathered all this stuff. And unfortunately, his father had passed away, and he was now on the Upper West Side of New York with all these movie posters. And so over the next 3 to 4 years, I would buy slices out of this as he needed money. Unfortunately, I think he was gambling the money away. And we were able to get all kinds of great stuff. I eventually called him the magic closet man. Because every time he'd go into his closet, he'd pull out something great. It was unfortunate in that he disappeared at a certain point. And by that time, one other person had learned of him, had found him. So the two of us were competing for the stuff.
Well, you're pretty lucky it lasted that long.
No, because I didn't want any. Because otherwise, everyone's going to go after him.
Absolutely.
He had great stuff, and the two of us were kind of like, okay, we're going to keep this guy between us, so that we gave him a fair price. And after I sold that Invisible Man, I gave him an extra $5,000 because I wanted to show him that I'm trying to be honest with him.
Yeah.
And so we gave him all kinds of considerations, and we'd bring him every time I went to New York. We'd go out and have a big meal, but he was gambling the money. He didn't have a real job, and he was on the Upper West Side of New York, and I don't know how he lived. He didn't live, apparently, and so he disappeared. It's too bad because we found a lot of stuff. We never found the one sheets. The one sheets would have been the real find because a one sheet for Invisible Man goes for.
And what's a one sheet? Tell them.
One sheet is the standard movie. This is a one sheet.
Okay.
Standard one sheet, 27 by 41. Now it's 27 by 40, but then those days it was 27 by 41. $150,000, $200,000.
Wow.
Mummy was $300,000. I mean, the guy collected on Frederick March. Wow. He loved Frederick March and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So there was a couple of good. But if he had been a Lugosi and Karloff collector, I mean, he had $1 million worth of stuff. He loved Claude Rains. He loved Frederick March. He loved, but he didn't love Lugosi and Karloff, who are the big stars of 30s paper.
So in all of your wanderings around, have you ever brushed elbows with some celebrities?
Yeah, I mean, I shook hands with Paul McCartney.
Oh, cool.
We had a great time. We were at a movie poster show, and he came by. He didn't come by the show, but he came by the hotel to have tea. And so I invited him to the show, but and but that was nice. And I've sold stuff to Martin Scorsese. I've sold stuff to Ringo Starr. I've sold stuff to Joanna Cassidy. I've sold stuff to all the people come to these shows and look around. I sold stuff to Russell Simmons. I sold I imagine, I don't know for sure, but he bought all these gigantic 40 by 60 blaxploitation posters. I had a really nice collection, and he bought them up. And I never talked to him. I just talked to his people. His people would take pictures and say, can I help you? And they're like, yeah, well, this is for Mr. Simmons. And, okay, great. So I've sold film to Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino has a theater in L.A. right now, and he was always looking for 35 millimeter film. And so I have a major collection of 35. I had a big collection of 35 millimeter British noirs. So I sold those to him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
you're like a celebrity yourself, Cory.
No, that's not true. but I've had if you want to brush elbows, those are the elbows I've brushed.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So just to wrap it up, what's the furthest place you've ever shipped an item? Anywhere in the world?
Japan, for sure.
Wow, okay.
And lots of stuff to Japan. They're big collectors. Russia as well, going the other way. So yeah, all over the world.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, tell people how they can find you, Cory.
Great. Well, we have a great website, realartcollectibles.com. We also are on Facebook, Real Art Collectibles. Also, you can call me 708-288-7378. C. Glaberson at AOL.com is my email, and you can come down. I'm so old I have an AOL address, or you can come to the store, and 6727 Stanley Avenue, Berwyn, Illinois 60402. 708-637-3244 is our store phone number. Love to talk to you about any of your collectibles, any of the stuff you want to sell or buy, what you're looking for. We're always finding new stuff. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you.
So, Dan, I'm kind of bummed I missed that. That sounds like a pretty good field trip.
Yeah.
I was on a fun field trip, too, but that sounds like a really good field trip.
It's like a toy store for kids.
Going in and seeing all the collectibles all in one place.
Yeah.
And it's not, like we're trying to do with Cracking the Code of Spy movies, that we're not just focused on James Bond. He's not just, he's focused on all genres of movies.
Yes.
And having all that memorabilia, that's got to be cool.
If you're in the movies, he's a great guy to know. So that's fantastic. And also, I want to give a shout out to Carly. She's one of our followers on Twitter who always likes our stuff and retweets our stuff. She's out in the UK. So, Carly, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Carly. It's great to see that support.
We appreciate it.
So thanks for joining us as we continue cracking the code of spy movies. This has been Tom Pizzato
And Dan Silvestri
from SpyMovieNavigator.com. Please subscribe to our show through your favorite podcast app. Send us a voice message from our website, SpyMovieNavigator.com, and look for our YouTube channel as well. If you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and in Google Play. That helps us a lot. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and on Instagram too.